Hello and welcome to the grammar module on subject-verb agreement. So hopefully all of you have had a chance to look at the two preliminary grammar videos so that you have some idea of what some of these terms are that I'm going to be using in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's begin with a definition of subject-verb agreement. So hopefully again you guys looked at the first video that discussed the components of sentences. So in every sentence we have a subject and a verb, and the verb form of that predicate in a clause or a sentence has to match the subject in person and in number. So looking at this specific example, the boy feeds his dog. So the subject in the sentence is the boy. It's third person singular. We could also substitute it with the pronoun he. And feeds is the correct conjugation of the verb to feed in the third person singular. So one boy, and therefore the subject now has to be matched by a verb that is correct in its form. Now, the challenge in this is that unfortunately not all situations are as simple or as clear-cut as that one. So what we're going to do is on the following slides, you're going to have exercise slides where I'm giving you two options to choose from. I would like you to consider both carefully. The way I'm setting up the videos, I'm building in a 5-second pause. If you don't want to have to rush through it, if you want to maybe take a little bit more time, just pause the video, and then when you're ready to move on, unpause it and move on. If you're looking at the PowerPoint slides that I'm also making available, then you can obviously do that at your own pace. So on the answer slides, and there will be an answer slide following each exercise slide, you will find the correct answer as well as an explanation of why that is the correct answer. All right, exercise 1. Which of the two sentences below is correct? A. The governor as well as his press secretary were injured. B. The governor as well as his press secretary was injured. The correct answer is B. The governor, as well as his press secretary, was injured. So the main clause expressing the main idea in this sentence is the governor was injured. So as well as his press secretary, which is offset by commas, is added as sort of a grammatical afterthought. Okay? So, had the sentence begun with the governor and his press secretary, this would have changed things completely, because now we have the subject, which in the sentence would be the governor and his press secretary. Now we have a plural subject. Then the correct verb form would have been were. And the main reason we might choose one over the other, if we're really emphasizing what happened to the governor, and that's way more important, the original version, the governor as well as his press secretary was injured, would probably be the choice. If we want to add equal emphasis to the fact that both of these people were injured, then the governor and his press secretary would be the way to go. All right, moving on to exercise 2. So, which of the two sentences below is correct? A. A driver's license or a credit card is required. Or B. A driver's license or a credit card are required. The correct answer for exercise 2 is A. A driver's license or a credit card is required. So in this sentence we have two subjects, a driver's license and a credit card. So both of these subjects are in the singular form. We have the indefinite pronoun a driver's license, a credit card, which could also be substituted with one driver's license or one credit card. So they're clearly both in the singular form. They are separated by a coordinating conjunction or. So it's one or the other. Okay. So in that case, the subject closest to the verb, and in this case it's a credit card, determines the correct verb form, which in this case is the word is. Right, moving on to exercise 3. Which of the two sentences below is correct? A. A driver's license or 2 credit cards is required. Or B. A driver's license or 2 credit cards are required. The correct answer here is B. A driver's license or 2 credit cards are required. So again, in this sentence, we have 2 subjects, a driver's license and 2 credit cards. Now, one subject is in the singular, again, a driver's license, which could also be substituted by one driver's license. The other is in the plural, 2 credit cards. So they are again separated by the coordinating conjunction or, so meaning one or the other. So again, the subject closest to the verb, and in this case it's 2 credit cards, determines the correct verb form. So that's why it's a driver's license or 2 credit cards are required. Now, if we switch this around, it would be grammatically accurate to say 2 credit cards or a driver's license is required, because in that example, a driver's license, the singular subject is closer to the verb. That sounds kind of awkward. So if you have a situation like this, my recommendation would be start with a subject that's singular, place the subject that's plural closer to the verb, make the verb form plural, and you will avoid some of the awkwardness that the other example that I just mentioned will bring up. Moving on to exercise 4. So, which of the 2 sentences below is correct? A. Skis, boots, and poles is the required equipment. Or B. Skis, boots, and poles are the required equipment. The correct answer is B. Skis, boots, and poles are the required equipment. So the subject in this sentence is skis, boots, and poles. So this whole list of things is clearly plural. So that's what determines the verb form, which here has to be are. So the subject complement, so again, the word that defines what the subject is in the sentence is the required equipment. Now, equipment, grammatically speaking, is considered singular. So if we switch the subject and the subject complement, which we could in this sentence, that sentence would be the required equipment is skis, boots, and poles. Because again, in this example, the subject equipment is in the singular. So just always remember, as long as you can analyze what the subject is and whether it's singular or plural, you'll be fine. Exercise 5. Which of the 2 sentences below is correct? A. The family is enjoying the trip to the Grand Canyon. Or B. The family are enjoying the trip to the Grand Canyon. The correct answer is A. The family is enjoying the trip to the Grand Canyon. So the rule here is in American English, and that's important because it's different in British English. Words that represent a group of people, for example, family, police, committee, jury, and so forth, are considered a grammatically singular entity, especially when that group acts in unison altogether, okay, which is what the family enjoying the Grand Canyon as a group is doing. Now, if the group's members do not act in unison, what I would recommend is to find a way to make that a plural form in terms of expressing the subject. So here, although it would be grammatically correct to say the jury were sitting down, because they're not all sitting down together simultaneously, although that sentence would technically be correct, I think to avoid some of the awkwardness here would be to just make the subject clearly a plural form by adding the words members of. So the members of the jury were sitting down, and nobody should question if that's accurate. Moving on to exercise 6. Which of the two sentences below is correct? A, each of the girls like their father, or B, each of the girls likes her father. The correct answer here is B. Each of the girls likes her father. So, although the word girls is clearly plural, the part here that makes it subject and the subject of this sentence is each of the girls, singular, because of the words each of. So think of that as being substituted as each one or each and every one of them. Okay, so each always means just one at a time. Okay. So the context of the sentence is that there are several girls, they're unrelated, they are not sisters sharing the same father. There are, let's say, 3 girls, each of them has her own father, and each of these girls likes her own father. So that's what we mean here. Exercise 7. So, which of the two sentences below is correct? A, if either of the girls date Bob, they are out of their minds. Or B, if either of the girls dates Bob, she is out of her mind. The correct answer is B. If either of the girls dates Bob, she is out of her mind. So the subject in the sentence is either of the girls. So that is singular because either means either one or the other. It can never be both. Either is always one or the other. Okay? So that's a singular subject, so the verb form needs to be matching the singular, dates. And then the main clause also has to reflect the fact that we're referring back to a singular subject in the previous phrase. So therefore it has to be she is out of her mind. All right, final exercise, number 8. Which of the two sentences below is correct? A, each of the trucks have been washed. Or B, each of the trucks has been washed. And the correct answer here is B, each of the trucks has been washed. So the critical part of the subject here again, and the subject is each of the trucks, is each of, which makes it singular again. Each and every one, or each one of these trucks has been washed. All right, let me just point out some additional resources for you. You'll see the URL at the bottom of the page here, the webapps.towson.edu. You can also access this page by just going to the basic Towson web address, which is www.towson.edu. Type a / and the letters OWS for online writing support, and that will bring you to that screen. Now, if you notice in the lower right-hand side of the screen, you see a list of exercises. For the subject-verb agreement exercises, you want to click on the usage link. So when you do that, you will find in the upper left-hand corner of that screen a list of exercises on subject-verb agreement. So if you click on one of those links, it will take you to this first exercise. You'll see it's titled Subject-Verb Agreement Exercise 1. So here, number 1, the example is Emily and Greg. So we have a plural subject. We have this person and that person. So the correct answer is come to my house every Friday for lunch. Yeah. So what you would do is answer all of these by clicking on the correct answer. Once you've completed them, click on the button at the bottom here that reads Check My Work. That will take you to another screen that shows you your answers and lets you compare what the correct answer should be. Again, if you complete all of them correctly, you probably know what you're doing. But you've noticed before there are 2 more exercises, so if you struggled with the first one, it might be helpful to just complete another one. I will see you again in the next module, in which we will be discussing how to use apostrophes to indicate possession. Thank you.